There's a strange moment in every man's life when he realizes that the things he thought women wanted aren't actually the things that make them fall for him. It's not the loudest guy in the room. It's not the one trying the hardest. A lot of men spend years performing, proving, competing, trying to be the most impressive version of themselves. But the truth is, women fall for something way quieter, something subtle, something you barely notice unless you slow down long enough to see what's actually happening. And that's exactly what we're diving into today. Welcome back to Mind Unmasked, the place where we strip away the noise, drop the masks, and talk real human psychology, the way it actually plays out in everyday life. If you're new here, buckle in, because today's video might change the way you see yourself and how women see you. And if you've been here for a while, you already know what we do. We go deeper than the surface and talk about the things nobody says out loud. So let's start with a simple hook. What if the most attractive things about you aren't the things you show, but the things you quietly do without even thinking? What if the behaviors you never brag about are the ones that pull women toward you the most? Today, we're talking about 7 quiet, almost unnoticed behaviors that make men extremely attractive to women. And once you understand these, you'll see dating, connection, and attraction through a completely different lens. The first quiet behavior is something so subtle that most men don't even know they're doing it, but women notice it instantly. It's the way you stay calm when someone else is losing their cool. It's the way you slow down the situation when everyone else speeds up. When you don't panic, don't react impulsively, don't raise your voice just because someone else does. Women feel something they don't often talk about: safety, reliability, a grounded presence. A lot of guys think attraction is about showing strength, but the real strength women notice is the quiet, stable kind. The man who doesn't need to dominate the room. The man who doesn't fight for attention. The man who listens, takes a breath, and responds instead of reacting. That calmness is like emotional gravity. It makes women feel like they can relax around you because you're not adding chaos, you're regulating it. You're the balance. And that's something incredibly rare in a world full of noise. Another quiet behavior women find extremely attractive is something men don't get enough credit for: the ability to pay attention without announcing it. You don't brag about being observant. You don't make a big show of noticing things. You just notice. You remember small details she forgot she even mentioned. You catch the shift in her tone when something's bothering her. You see the little things, like how she ties her hair when she's stressed, how she taps her fingers when she's thinking, how she pauses before she says something vulnerable. Women pick up on men who pay attention because most people don't. You don't have to be Sherlock Holmes, you just have to be present. True presence is rare. And presence, especially from a man, feels like care. Not the kind you talk about, but the kind you demonstrate quietly. One of the most powerful quiet behaviors is the way a man carries frustration. Not the way he hides it, that's fake, but the way he holds it in a mature, controlled way. A man who can be irritated without becoming hurtful, who can be disappointed without shutting down, who can feel pressure without lashing out. That man is attractive in a way that's hard to put into words. Women see it as emotional maturity, but it goes deeper than that. It tells her you can handle life, you can handle her emotions, you can handle your own, and you won't crumble when things get heavy. Quiet, emotional stability is one of the rarest traits in men today. Not because men don't feel emotional, but because society teaches men to either explode or suppress. But the man who processes quietly, who communicates calmly, who stays real without being reckless, that man stands out like a lighthouse. There's also something extremely attractive about a man who doesn't chase validation. And this one is subtle. Women recognize it instantly, even if you don't. It's in the way you don't rush to fill silence. The way you don't try to impress her every second. The way you don't change who you are just to make someone like you. You're comfortable with yourself. Not arrogant, just grounded. A man who doesn't crave attention has a presence that feels powerful without being loud. It tells her that you live your life with a purpose, a direction, and a standard. And none of that disappears just because a pretty woman shows up. Women are drawn to men who don't lose themselves in the process of trying to win someone else. Let's talk about another quiet behavior that women rarely admit out loud: the way you handle your responsibilities. Most men think women are looking for money, status, or some flashy lifestyle. But what actually impresses women is much simpler: consistency. The quiet man who takes care of his life. Not perfectly, just consistently. You handle your business. You show up for work, for your commitments, for the people you care about. You pay your bills. You take responsibility for your choices. You're reliable in the most ordinary ways, and that ordinary reliability becomes something extraordinary when a woman sees it. Because reliability is emotional safety. Women feel more attracted to men who show, through quiet action, that they don't run when things get tough. She sees how you treat your goals, your obligations, your own well-being, and she imagines how you treat her. Attraction is connection plus trust, and trust is built through quiet consistency. Another quiet behavior that makes men extremely attractive is the way you show kindness without turning it into a performance. A lot of people today talk about kindness like it's a brand, something to put online, something to brag about. But the kind of kindness women fall for is the quiet kind. You hold the door for someone without expecting praise. You help someone out and don't post it. You talk to people respectfully, no matter who they are. You're not doing it for recognition. You're doing it because it's who you are. Real kindness is silent. It's steady. It's not something you announce. It's something you live. And women feel the difference instantly. It tells her you don't need eyes on you to do what's right. Kindness without ego is one of the most masculine things a man can show. Let's talk about something deeper now. Something most men don't realize has a massive psychological pull on women. Your quiet ambition. Not shouting your goals to the world. Not flexing your progress every 5 minutes. Not turning your dreams into a personality. Just quietly working. Quietly improving, quietly building. Women are incredibly perceptive when it comes to a man's direction in life. They don't need you to be rich or successful or famous. They just need to feel you're going somewhere, that you believe in something, that you're not stagnant. A man's quiet ambition makes a woman feel inspired, safe, and connected all at once. She sees the discipline, the effort, the drive, even when you don't talk about it, and it becomes one of the sexiest, most attractive things about you. Not because she needs you to provide, but because direction is attractive. A man who moves with purpose moves differently. There's another quiet behavior women love, and this one might surprise you. The ability to give space without disappearing. It's subtle, and it's rare. You don't cling, you don't pressure, you don't suffocate. You're secure enough to let her have her feelings, her time, her process, her life outside of you. That balance of closeness and independence is deeply attractive because it shows emotional security. Insecure men either chase too hard or pull away too fast. But a secure man does something quietly powerful. He remains present without hovering, available without begging, loving without losing himself. Women feel safe around a man who allows space without mistaking space for rejection. Another quiet behavior that draws women in is restraint, not in a cold way, but in a respectful, controlled way. A man who doesn't rush intimacy, who doesn't push boundaries, who doesn't force moments, who lets things unfold naturally, that man becomes irresistible. Women feel respected, cherished, and safe around a man who knows how to take his time. It creates a powerful emotional experience because it tells her you're not with her just for what she can give you, but for who she is. One of the deepest quiet behaviors women fall for is emotional openness without emotional dumping. You're not a stone wall, but you're also not unloading every thought onto her. You share yourself slowly, honestly, thoughtfully. You let her in without placing the weight of her entire life on her shoulders. You're vulnerable, but grounded. You communicate, but you're not chaotic. That balance is rare. Women feel connected to men who can express emotion in a mature, steady way. It makes them trust you. It makes them feel safe opening up in return. Emotional openness, done quietly and maturely, is one of the strongest forms of intimacy. Here's another one, and this one is powerful: the quiet confidence that comes from knowing your worth without needing to prove it. You don't act needy. You're not desperate for approval. You don't reshape your entire identity to impress someone. You like who you are, and you're okay if someone doesn't. That attitude is magnetic. Women feel calm around a man who isn't controlled by insecurity. Quiet confidence isn't loud, showy, or aggressive. It's peaceful. It's steady. It's the kind of confidence that doesn't need validation because it comes from within. And women trust that kind of man. They feel safe with him, attracted to him, curious about him. Another quiet behavior women find attractive is emotional intelligence, not in a therapy talk way, but in small, everyday moments. You apologize when you're wrong, genuinely. You speak calmly even when you're frustrated. You understand that someone can feel scared, sad, or overwhelmed without needing to fix them. You give people emotional room without being dismissive. You communicate without being defensive. You accept feedback without taking it as an attack. Emotional intelligence is a silent superpower in dating. Women recognize it instantly because they rarely see it. When a man understands emotions, his and hers, he becomes unforgettable. Let's talk about something even quieter, your silence. Not the awkward kind, not the cold kind, the peaceful kind, the kind where you're comfortable just being. A man who can sit in silence without fidgeting, without needing distraction, without feeling insecure. That man radiates strength. Women love the presence of a man who can enjoy stillness. It makes moments feel bigger, deeper, more real. Silence reveals who you really are, and a man who is at peace in silence is at peace with himself. Another quiet behavior that women are drawn to is your focus. Not the fake hustle culture type, the real kind. When you're doing something, you're in it. You're fully engaged. Whether you're working, reading, fixing something, cooking, or learning, your attention is steady. That intensity is attractive because it shows depth. A focused man becomes magnetic without even trying. Women can sense purpose, they sense discipline, they sense passion, and all of that is extremely attractive. Finally, the quiet behavior that ties everything together is your consistency of character. You don't switch up depending on who's watching. You don't pretend to be confident, kind, controlled, attentive, or ambitious. You actually are. You show up the same way every day, even when nobody is there to applaud you. Women fall hardest for men who are internally aligned, men who act the same publicly and privately. There's something deeply attractive about a man who doesn't have multiple versions of himself. He's just him, solid, steady, real. And here's the truth most men never hear. It's never the loud qualities that win her heart. It's the quiet ones, the presence, the maturity, the consistency, the emotional stability, the invisible strength, the subtle confidence, the things you don't show off because they're not for show, they're just who you are. Women don't fall for performances. They fall for presence. They fall for the man who stands steady while the world gets loud, the man who moves with intention instead of ego, the man who doesn't need to prove himself because his actions already did. You've ever felt like you're not the loudest guy, not the flashiest, not the smoothest, not the center of attention? Good. Those aren't the things that make you truly attractive. What makes you attractive are the quiet, steady, grounded qualities that only real men have. And if you're here, watching this, learning, growing, improving, trust me, you already have more of those qualities than you think. And women notice, even when you think they don't. If this opened your eyes or made you think a little differently about yourself, you're exactly the kind of person Mind Unmasked was made for. This channel is about real human psychology, real emotional growth, and understanding yourself on a deeper level. Stick around. We've got a lot more to uncover together.